So guys, the mask is finally slipping and we're starting to, well, I say we are starting to understand, I believe the general public and the people in the media, the naysayers who said that we were wrong all this time, that when we were saying that Keir Starmer is actually a piece of shit and that he hates this country, that he has no mandate, that he is lying constantly to everyone, apart from the people that are paying him, and that he's actually doing the very worst things for democracy and free speech, the very things that he champions to the President of the United States' face when he openly lies to him as well. It is interesting seeing the reaction of those in politics, of those in the media, when they finally begin to understand that Keir Starmer is not fit for leadership, that he shouldn't be in this country, and that he might actually just be a dictator. And I don't say that lightly. We're going to go through these videos. We're going to watch some things here. And then you guys can let me know in the comments below whether or not being called a dictator is the correct terminology to use for this person, whether or not he has a mandate, and whether or not the British people themselves now have a legitimate cause to not accept this government. Now, what that means moving forward, we can talk about at the end. But it doesn't mean that we have to comply with them. I'll just say that for now. Anyway, so, again, you guys can let me know what you think about the terminology that I'm going to use and whether or not my analysis is correct. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. If you do like the channel, before we go ahead, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow this one before YouTube gets its nasty mitts on it and tears it down like the last channel. So, what I'm going to do from now on, and I think you guys would support this as well, is when the channel stops growing, and it's very obvious when it stops growing. My other channel has been stuck on 39,000 for more than 3 months now. That's not good. This channel has grown by, what, 6,000 in a week? So I understand when YouTube is doing its thing, okay? So when they start to do that to this channel, I will make another channel and we'll have to move over to there and start it all over again. And I don't mind. I'm not in this for the massive subscriber counts. I just want people to see the videos. I want people to open their eyes. And that's probably why they're doing it. So let's just keep the ball rolling, eh? Dinobane. Like I said, subscribe down below. Let's listen to this person talking, Leila Cunningham, and what she thinks about Keir Starmer and the Labour Party in general.
I'll tell you what's a dictatorship, and I'll tell you what's an authoritarian regime. It's cancelling elections. It's cancelling jury trials. It's imposing a digital ID system with no political mandates. And it's also curbing online dissent that you don't approve of. That's how authoritarian regimes operate. And you're doing all of that without a political mandate. It was not in your manifesto. We're not the ones cancelling elections. We're not the ones that want to surveil the whole country. We're not the ones that want to subject everyone to a digital ID without a political mandate. That's how dictators operate. It's not us, it's you. I'll tell you.
And that guy shouldn't even be in the country. He certainly shouldn't be in any kind of political authoritarian role within the UK because he's a foreigner. And up until recently, that was illegal, allowing foreigners to be represented in the English constitution, in the English government. The UK government was illegal. For some reason, everyone seems to have forgot that and are allowing these people with dual nationalities, allegiances to different countries, to operate freely within our political system. And that's probably not a good thing if you want a country. But I'm sure that there's some people out there that might disagree with that. Moving on, let's remind ourselves of Keir Starmer and how he fucking lies openly to everyone, including the most powerful man in the world.
I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies. But we also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British. Of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension, American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But
so you just lied twice there within 10 seconds. He's a specky, lying piece of shit. Let's listen to him lie to Donald Trump again.
Free speech today.
Well, free speech is very important. I don't know if you're referring to any place in particular, perhaps.
I wonder which place you're referring to. Look at this specky little twat here. It's probably this one, isn't it?
But we've had free speech for a very, very long time here, so we're very proud about that.
The only thing you're proud of is getting away with bumming those twinks and not having some kind of investigation go into it. Oh, and here we go, right? Free speech. Very, very proud of free speech. But this guy just got a sentence. 20 months in jail this guy's got for saying, if you're a white dude apologising for saying nigger, you're a faggot. Now, apparently, that is jail-worthy now in the UK. I don't know which term is jail-worthy, whether it's the word nigger or whether it's the word faggot, but one of them has upset this very long-nosed serious-looking rat-faced munter that upset this woman so much that she decided to give him 20 months in prison. But by the way, she is someone who previously freed a 33-year-old man convicted of raping a girl under 14 due to the prisons being overcrowded.
Not the time, helicopter!
I believe that in the UK, we need to start arresting the judges. The judges need to be they need to be accountable for these political decisions that they're making, these partisan decisions. They can't be allowed to just arbitrarily decide that someone who said a naughty word deserves 20 months in prison, while someone who rapes a 14-year-old girl is allowed to go free because the prisons, there's too many of those rapists in the prisons right now. So let's just let this one go. She needs to be arrested. She needs to be found accountable. And I'm sure when we get a good government, when we get a government that represents the people, these people will have hell to pay. And now we can go on to online safety. So the Americans, this is strange, isn't it? The only people right now in the UK the only people that seem to be representing the British people are not even British, they're Americans. And that's just mental. Apart from Rupert Lowe and maybe one or two other MPs, I believe there's one in the Conservative Party, I forgot her name, but I've mentioned her a couple of times on the channel. There's one or two MPs that still fight the good fight. But it seems to be most of the people that are actually sticking up for British free speech or the rights of British citizens, they're Americans. And again, that is showing how deep the rot goes in our country.
Add one more thing on the Online Safety Act, and I emphasized this earlier, but I want to say it again. It's misguided and unfortunate to apply that law in Britain, but applying that law extraterritorially, which means applying it to speech that has nothing to do with Britain, does not occur in Britain, is on American platforms by American users on American political issues, purporting to censor Americans in America is a deal breaker. It is a non-starter. It is a red line. And that's what Ofcom has tried to do with the Online Safety Act, and that's one reason the American government is concerned.
Okay, but will your government then take legal action against Ofcom if they try and overreach in the way you've described?
Well, there's already formal action proposed. There is a bill before the House called the Granite Act that would amend an existing statute to clarify that as a matter of American public policy, any penalties imposed by Ofcom are unenforceable against American companies. So our legislature will likely consider that, and will certainly consider other options if indeed the British government insists upon trying to nullify the First Amendment on American soil with respect to American companies. And
here's the thing, for all the Americans listening, there's a reason that the British people voted for Brexit against all the advice of everyone in power, including the massive corporations. Literally every single political leader in office at that time was telling us not to do this, not to do this. We had Barack Obama coming over telling us not to do this. It would cause too much pain. Britain would go to the back of the queue, and we didn't give a fuck because we wanted our sovereignty back. So I will say this, the Americans listening, the US establishment listening, right? You can do whatever you want to the UK. You can impose the harshest tariffs imaginable, and the British people will suck it up. Because we know that you're trying to do this for our best interests. We know that you're trying to stop what is happening in the UK, and that is a slow-moving iceberg coup. Well, actually, it's not even slow-moving anymore, is it? It's pretty quick. Not only is the Labour government ignoring every single mandate that they were elected on. They're now imposing digital IDs. They're scrapping winter fuel allowances. They're giving more money to foreigners while taxing the native people through the roof. They're locking people up for words. They're cancelling local elections. I'm going to get onto all this in a sec, but we will take the pain. We will take everything that you've got, everything that you throw at us, and we will take it because we need some kind of measures to stop this tyrannical government doing what they're doing. Let's move on to immigration, because that's a topic that's super light and is very easy to digest and is something that people really like to discuss. The first thing when they first wake up in the morning. Yeah. Let's all talk about immigration and how the country's being overrun. Perfect.
The US Undersecretary there has got a point, hasn't she? I mean, it's actually a pretty sort of common sense point that if you change the type of person, the nationality of people in a country, you change the nature of the country.
What? If you get rid of all the English and you replace them with some sheepshaggers from Afghanistan, then it won't be England anymore. If you replace the entire English or the Scottish or the Welsh with orangutans, then it won't be England anymore. What a nuanced perspective.
I don't know why we've not said it before.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting...
We've been saying it for years and years and years, and you guys called us fucking racists. Again, I am welcoming the fact that the media is starting to wake up to this. There's a few people that are in the mainstream media that are just like, wait a second, what's going on here? If they want to replace every single one of us, they want to import the third world for infinity because they're all classed as refugees, and there's millions of them, billions of them, which means that there's infinite refugees that we need to house and home and pay for because it will never stop, it will never end. Wait a second, that's not good for us, is it? Wait, but can I say that? Because they'll call me a racist. But still, it's not good for us, right?
About this Trump administration is that it's really on the front foot with regard to making the case for strong borders, making the case for freedom of speech. Sarah's appointment as Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy is just the quintessential MAGA appointment. She only came into the job about 8 weeks ago, but she's already on her first foreign trip, the UK being the first stop on a European tour. And she has a background as a lawyer and a free speech advocate. She's actually defended freedom of speech online. She's worked against the politicization of policing and even...
I think they're talking about this woman here.
On debanking. So all topics that GB News viewers would be very well aware of. And so she's really on the front foot making the case that weak borders and mass migration are a threat, an existential threat to Western civilization.
The fact that she made the UK the first stop is that, I mean, obviously we are, if you're flying from America, we pretty much are the first place that you stop at. Is that why?
Again, wow, fucking genius. What a genius. Wow, if you fly from America to Europe, then the UK is the first stop. Wow. Amazing investigative journalism there.
Or is there another reason?
I think there's more to it. I think that the administration...
There's probably more to it, yeah.
...is prioritizing her early visits on European countries that they see as key allies. And in the interview, she talks about those fundamental values, which she feels that many European countries share with the United States, even if, we in the UK don't have the First Amendment, freedom of speech, in the same way.
What do you mean we? What do you mean we?
That we as a people value freedom of speech. And I just think it's fascinating. It's a very muscular approach to foreign policy, but also to making the case for American values. And, the link here, and people may...
What do you mean American values? I'm not going to let you guys go on the fact that intersectionalism and this neo-Marxism was pushed by your country across the Anglosphere for the last 30 or 40 years. You can't then turn around and go, well, actually, guys, we were right all along. You're all doing this to yourselves. You should stop it now and embrace American values. No. England was fine before you started pushing this absolute dog shit onto us. Our politics are now infested with it. The universities are infested with it. We didn't invent that shit. You guys did. Own up to it.
I ask, well, why is she going on about this? Why does the Trump administration care? And they see a through line between weak borders, mass migration, lack of community cohesion, to instability in Britain and elsewhere, which makes their allies weaker and therefore has a negative impact on American national security. So at the end of the day, it is self-interest, but they're seeing the stability and prosperity of European allies as part of American self-interest.
I love that. It's brilliant, isn't it, guys? It's like, wow, if we flood all of Western countries with the third world that have shithole countries and can't even take care of themselves, then that might weaken the West. That's probably not good for us if we want to, protect our own borders. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. Oh my word. Wow. Fucking amazing. I love it. Anyway, here's Donald Trump again talking about mass invasion of Europe.
But you're allowing it to happen to your countries. And you got to stop this horrible invasion that's happening to Europe, many countries in Europe. Some people, some leaders have not let it happen. And they're not getting the proper credit they should. I could name them to you right now, but I'm not going to embarrass the other ones. But stop. This immigration is killing Europe. And the other thing, stop the windmills, killing the beauty of your countries. Thank you.
But, of course, Keir Starmer, and again, you can let me know in the comments, is Keir Starmer a dictator? Does he have a mandate any longer? Should the British people even listen to a single thing that this government says? Or should we start treating this government as the enemy that I think it is? We shouldn't. I don't want to lead you too far down the garden path. Anyway, so let's listen to how the Labour government, after all that, are actually just going to ignore everything that the Americans are saying and everything that the British people are saying, and instead embrace the fact that they're not very popular. So how do you combat a populace that fucking hates you and wishes the very worst cancer upon you? How do you combat that when it comes to free speech and maybe, if they're represented in a jury? Well, if you want to arrest them and send them to prison and there's one of those pesky juries in the way that might actually deem them not guilty, that's just not on, especially if you're a tyrannical piece of shit.
First, I will create new Swift courts within the Crown Court with a judge alone deciding verdicts in triable either way cases.
Great. A judge alone will decide the verdict of the trial. No more juries, guys. What's the point in having a pesky jury that might possibly deem someone not guilty, especially when you're a vindictive, shark-nosed, lesbian-looking bitch like this? Can't have that, guys. Cannot have that.
With a likely sentence of 3 years or less, as Sir Brian recommends. Sir Brian estimates that they will deliver justice at least 20% faster than jury trials.
Who the fuck is Sir Brian? Brian Levison is a English retired senior judge who is currently Investigatory Powers Commissioner, having previously served as the president of the Queen's Bench Division and head of criminal justice. So this guy, this piece of shit, has decided that in order to make the courts a little bit quicker, it's got nothing to do with just imprisoning people for wrong speech or wrong think. This guy's decided that the jury is no longer needed. This guy, paint this picture in your head. When you see this man in the public, just make it known that you think he's a piece of shit. Now, I'm not saying do anything violent towards him. You shouldn't do that. Don't hurt him in any way. Just make it known that you fucking hate this guy. Honestly, these people are just sick. While Keir Starmer allows himself to be draped in garish, lavish banquets and surrounded by wealth and opulence, again, the signs of a dictator. This man lives a completely different life from me and you, enjoys freedoms that he is currently stripping away from us, surrounds himself with foreigners that are here with a ulterior motive in this country, and allows that, whether or not he's been bought off, I don't know. I can't say legitimately that he's been bought off, but he does really like the idea, or support the idea, that because he's a prime minister, he's due certain gifts and certain bonuses. It's all fair, right? It's just fair dues. You remember that?
I think most people watching this would say, well, fair dues. I think they'd think I was pretty self-centered if I said, I'd much prefer to be in the stands, by the way. I said, I'm going in the stands and you, the taxpayer, are going to have to pick up the tab for the security. They're not really going to do that.
A lot of people are getting upset now that he's cancelled the mayoral elections in 2026. Now, I wasn't particularly surprised by this because there's history here. If you all remember, he actually cancelled the elections, the local elections, for the May the 1st this year. So we were supposed to have some local elections go ahead on May 1st this year, the local council elections, in which most of these motherfuckers would have lost their seats. So they all voted just not to have an election this year. So I'm not surprised at all that he's done it again. And again, what is a dictator other than someone that fears losing their power? And in order to stop people, in order to stop them from losing their power, they just get rid of elections. They get rid of the jury. They introduce digital IDs. They start locking people up for wrongthink. Well, that's, in my eyes, the sign of a dictator.
Stop that.
If you cancel mayoral elections because you know Reform UK will win, you end the right to trial by jury to give corrupt judges more power, it makes you a dictator. And it does. Look at the other people in history that have done this. Vladimir Lenin, Benito Mussolini, Adolf Hitler, Franco, Mao Zedong, Castro, Pol Pot. Fucking hell. And on that wonderful list of people
fighting for working people,
you've got Keir Starmer added to that list. The UK is it's in serious trouble, guys. So, like I said, we've got one of the only people, well, it is saddening that the only people that really are coming out in defense of the British people do not actually represent the British people. They represent the American citizens over in a different country. Meanwhile, our judges and our ruling class and our political class, they seem to be openly hostile towards the people of this country. They seem to be doing everything they can to demoralize us, to import millions of people that fucking hate us, to demonize our history, to tell us that we've got white guilt, to tell us that we don't deserve a country, that we don't deserve free speech, to tell us that that we should be tracked like dogs. I am of the opinion, and this is my opinion. Actually, no, this is Gary's opinion. Gary from down the road. Gary was telling me that he thinks Keir Starmer is now illegitimate, that this is a government that is illegitimate. It's doing things against the country's interest, against the people's interest, and it has no mandate to do that. It is now, Gary sees them as an enemy of the state, an enemy of the people. Now that opens up the avenue for legitimate, very strong anti-government protests. Because a government without a mandate is a tyrannical government. And as we've just seen in Nepal and Mexico, well, tyrannical governments, they have a very short shelf life. If enough people decide that they no longer want to be ruled by these banshees and specky twats, well, if enough of us get together, then we don't need to be. And I do believe if the British people decided to forego the usual mechanisms of trying to oust these people, because let's be honest, they'll probably just get rid of them, I think they would be supported internationally. I think we would have lots of people from America coming over to support us. lots of people from Australia, New Zealand, lots of the expats coming home to support us. I think the entire world would look at the UK with admiration, not scorn, if the British people finally stood up and said to this government, no more, sir. No more. See you later.